So I just would like to start by setting the context of where our project's happening. So this is my retreat center. It's called Surya Leela. It means cosmic play of the sun. It's a yoga retreat center, but we also have meditation retreats and some spiritual retreats and a few other things. It's a really beautiful place. And it was, I started this project 7 years ago. I'm going to click through some photos just to show you what Surya Leela is like before I go on to the project. This is just a view with a pagoda. We've got beautiful views over hills and lakes, and there's just 360-degree views all around. This is one of the main courtyards there. This is a yoga dome. It's a huge dome. I made it look like a temple in Nepal. And it holds about 80 people doing yoga. It's really a lovely space. Here you can see the window. You can see the view from the dome.
Was that you?
That was me. It was a really anonymous yogi. Okay. And so we have a lot of land. It's actually an olive farm. Here you can see a beautiful old olive tree. So the first thing we did was start farming olives, even though we had no idea how to do that. But and then I realized after we'd been there and I'd been setting up the center for about 3 years and it was all running, I had 50 acres of land and I'd never even thought about being a farmer or anything. So it was quite daunting, and I really wanted to be a sort of good custodian of this land. So that was when I started to look into what I could do to I had some concerns about the land also, because it was very dry. And then I started to discover that we had some serious problems in southern Spain. Drought is one of the major problems. It affects the whole of southern Spain. We don't get enough water, we don't get enough rain. But the rain we do get just rolls off the land because the earth is so degenerated. And then I found out that 25% of Spain is actually desert. And it's getting worse and worse. And this is just pictures of our olive harvesting. This is some of the land here. So this is when I was just starting to think, what could I do? This actually doesn't look very dry right here, because this is in springtime. So in springtime it always looks very green, but if you after July, August, September, there's about 5 months of the year where the land looks really, really dry. And we do get some rain in the springtime, which is obviously saves us. We usually run out of water in July, and we have 5 months of the year where we have to truck water in because our wells run dry. So that was when I conceived of this project. It's called Danyadara. It means blessed earth. And when I started to meet some people who were experts in permaculture and consult with them about the land, I discovered that it was possible to regenerate the land in such a way that the land would become more absorbent and sponge-like. And that there is a way of reversing desertification if steps are taken very soon, because the south of Spain is in grave danger of turning into desert in the next 5 years if people don't do something about it. So there is a way in permaculture that you can actually regenerate the land, you can make the land much more sponge-like, and you can actually trap water back through the planting of trees, and actually increase the level of the groundwater. So there's many, many things you can do if you do it before it actually does turn to desert, because once it does, it's too late. And so I then got very panicked about it, passionate about doing something about it actually, and I felt the first thing to do was to regenerate our own land, our own soil. And so I consulted with experts, but this is Jacob, who's our farm manager, and he's an expert in permaculture. And so we started with our own land, but the project grew quite quickly, and he's showing here, in the background you can see depleted soil. It's a bit hard to see, and in the foreground you can see some regenerated soil. We have these big bins with earthworms in and all kinds of things. So it's part of our way of regenerating the soil. Here you can just see the beginnings of our kitchen garden. Because it's a busy retreat centre, we have our own kitchen garden, with those are edible flowers. It gives you more of a feeling of the kitchen garden. We can't grow everything because of our lack of water, but we try to grow a lot of things that you can't actually get there in southern Spain, things like kale and that kind of thing. So we only have organic local food. So the food that we can't grow, we buy from local organic farms, and this is just an idea of what our meals look like every day, 3 times a day. So one of my missions is to also turn as many people vegetarian as possible, because I think that is a very important thing that we can do for sustainability. And so the way I do that is I don't lecture people about vegetarianism. I just serve incredible meals 3 times a day, and like after you've been there a week, you're convinced without anyone having said a word. And also we don't have any cow products because of the degenerative nature of cow farming. So we do have some. It's not completely vegan. A lot of the food is vegan, but we also serve local goat's cheeses with goats that are farmed in a sustainable way, and we also have our own chickens, so we serve our own eggs as well. We have lots of little projects that are all connected to permaculture, which is actually trying to regenerate the earth in imitating nature. So if you're not familiar with permaculture, it's about just imitating the way that nature does it, because nature knows what she's doing and has always done a really good job until we came along. So we try to we just follow a lot of ideas from permaculture. This is an example of some outdoor showers where the water doesn't go into a drain; it just goes into the land, and you can see the beginnings of because we have so little water, so when people take a shower now, it goes right back into the land. And this is a few months after we started it, you can see how much all of that's grown from getting very watered. So that's just outside the showers there. So we have lots of other projects too. This is a sustainable building. We're also doing sustainable buildings as education projects. This is it's a yoga hall that we built from mud and straw, and the whole project was run as teaching people how to build sustainably. Yeah, that was really interesting, and we've been doing other sustainable buildings also. That's the inside, so it's all mud and straw and wood, really beautiful. It's mud from our own land, actually. And this is a sauna that we built. This is done with earth bags and mud and straw also. And you can see the inside of the sauna. So this is tree planting. We started planting a lot of trees to help regenerate the soil. So this was volunteers we began the project with volunteers. And this is a huge field. It's 7 hectares. It used to be a wheat field. So one of the problems with the soil degeneration has to do with the fact, agricultural farming, spraying chemicals on the land and everything. So this was part of our land, and it was a wheat field. We reclaimed it, and we're using permaculture methods to reforest. We're creating a food forest. So it's we planted 5,000 trees in this field last year, and they're planted in a key line pattern, which is the best way for getting the water from the rainfall, of harvesting the rainwater. And then we also have this educational component, which was very much what was funded by the Emergence Foundation. But we educate all our guests every week on everything that we're doing. So we take all the guests on a tour of all the different projects. And then we also These are local Spanish people from the local council that we're explaining to many people who are involved in agriculture in the region what we're doing, and really trying to just show them what's possible and for them to follow what we're doing. And there's a lot of interest, which is great. People were really, really interested. This is a school that we work with. Have I got to stop?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a video as well that explains this more, so maybe we move on to that. It is a little known fact that 1/3 of the planet is currently turning into desert. Less than 100 years ago, we humans started farming extensively and intensively. We tried to make nature behave like a factory. We separated species and divided ecosystems in order to manage them in an easier, more productive way. The consequences weren't visible for a few decades, but slowly and constantly, with each season, we were depleting the soil of its nutrients, like a bank account that is being used and never replenished. Year after year, certain patches of land started to become less and less productive until they finally gave up. Then the desert started. Even though we might be able to force a field to give us just one more year of crops by pumping chemical fertilizers into the soil, the system has already given up. We are based in Andalusia in southern Spain. Historians tell us that the country used to be a great forest. Unfortunately, desertification has taken hold, and it now plagues 25% of Spanish territory. Thousands of people come from all over the world to Surya Leela to reconnect with themselves and to replenish their bodies and minds. The land where Surya Leela is based was also calling us to restore its balance and replenish its energy. Initially, we wanted to see more trees around, so we decided to use the most difficult area, the ridge, to beautify Surya Leela. The first part of the land that we started to regenerate is this ridge here. And actually, this is the most difficult part of the land to regenerate because it's exposed to extreme weather conditions, both heat and rain and cold in the winter also. And so we felt like what plants would flourish here would be a good sign for what to plant in the rest of the land. So it was about 5 years ago that we started to regenerate this area, and it's really started to flourish. And you can see a lot of different species here that are loving being here, like a lot of succulents, cacti, and also pine trees and cypress trees. And it's all beginning to look really beautiful here. And there were no trees when we came here, so I think you'll appreciate how rich and lush this area has become. At the same time that we started beautifying the ridge, we also started a couple of other big projects. This is our flagship project. It's a 7-hectare field that used to be an industrially farmed wheat field. Our plan is to regenerate the soil. Last year we did a crowdfunder, and at the end of the year we planted 5,000 trees. And if you look at the design, they're planted in a key line formation, so it's a curvy line, and that maximizes their ability to harvest the rainwater. Everything in this forest is going to be edible, and this will be a huge project for many years to come. But it's wonderful to just see the beginnings of this project and watch these little trees growing. We didn't stop here. We are learning from different disciplines such as holistic management and syntropic farming. We are using our animals to process and fertilize the soil by moving them around the field, and we are creating syntropic gardens all around Surya Leela, which not only beautify and produce food,
but simultaneously regenerate an exhausted ecosystem back into health. In 2018, we embarked on our most ambitious project yet, which has to do with the regeneration of our olive groves. We have 800 olive trees here. They are about 100 years old, these olive trees. So this has been an olive farm for 100 years, and we've continued with the legacy of producing olive oil. We have now teamed up with an expert in holistic farm management for olive groves, and he is helping us to increase our production of olives by 5 times. And our goal is to produce the most delicious ecological olive oil in the area, showing that it can be a profitable industry, and also doing it holistically is going to be a really wonderful project to pull off here. In order to instill change beyond our little plot of land, we also had to become a platform for education and inspiration, to train people, inspire the local population, and share this message with a wider audience. Since 2016, we've taught 3 intensive permaculture design courses, which, thanks to the support of the Emergence Foundation, evolved into an educational program consisting of several month-long stays at Danyadara, where people get certified in permaculture design. To house the school, we are in the process of building an amazing sustainable house in a disused swimming pool. We've been building this amazing EcoCasa. It's a sustainable building, and it's actually built inside an old disused swimming pool. So it's partially underground. It's all made from recycled materials. And this building is the brainchild of Glenn Dunn, who's an Irish friend of ours. The walls are built of straw and clay and old bottles, as you can see, to let in some light. And this is going to be the main headquarters for the Danyadara project. We're building offices, and also there's going to be a classroom, and there'll also be some housing for the permaculture students that are staying here. I think it's a great example of what you can do with little money. You can create something beautiful with just things that people want to throw away, or with the earth itself. The Soto Grande International School, an elite school near Gibraltar, also reached out to us to organize presentations and day-long workshops with their students and staff. Every time we collaborate with these future leaders and game changers, we feel inspired and filled with hope for the future. We are privileged to do our work at Surya Leela, where hundreds of people come by every year, and in this way, the Danyadara message travels through our clients. And then there is the online world, the press, documentary makers, the United Nations and local radio, and our amazing donors and sponsors. Every day, we keep being amazed by how many people want to cooperate to help us make the land happy and productive once more. You can participate in our project by signing up to our mailing list. You can also come study with us. We're hoping to become one of the leading permaculture schools in Europe. You can also donate to the project. If you have any expertise or knowledge in this field, we'd be very open to having you share your knowledge with us. Thank you for watching.